direct from the web, it's Billy Masters Live. And now, please welcome your host, Billy Masters.
Here we go, another show, kids. Hey, everybody, welcome to Billy Masters Live. I am, of course, your host, Billy Masters, and I'm lowering my volume because who needs to hear a lot of me? Although you're going to be hearing a lot more of me than you think. Okay, we have a special guest today. We have Taylor Dayne, but here's the thing. Taylor's not here yet. Is she going to be here? It's anyone's guess. By the way, somebody tell me if my mic is working. I assume it is. We had some we were rebuilding some things here. So things just happen. But let me tell you, oh, Jesus, right there, yelling at me in my ear. Yes, okay. Today is Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020. It is 3 days before Christmas. Oh my God, I just got a text from Taylor Dayne. She's trying to get in. If I had a nickel for everyone named Taylor who had said that to me. Okay, I'm vamping. There you go. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to tell you a story while Taylor Dayne's trying to get in. I love Taylor Dayne. Oh, wait, I got a comment from somebody. All good, Melinda. Thank you, Melinda. Okay, so if you read my column, which is every week at billymasters.com, which you can see it right there. See, check out all the latest gossip, billymasters.com. We're going to do a special this week. I'm going to be sending out an email to people. So if you'd like to be on the list, go to billymasters.com and join the mailing list. So let me tell you. So I am negative, which, of course, if you watch this show, you then don't know. Okay, Taylor Dayne is saying to me that somebody, and who knows who, never sent her the email with the link. So, okay, I'm going to send her the link. Kids, I know, you're all sitting there saying, what the hell kind of show is this? Okay, so, you know what I'm going to do? I never get tired of doing this. I'm going to remind you people that I am the person who predicted Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Note that this is before Joe Biden even announced he was running for president. And note that I call her Camilla. All right. While I show this, I'm going to send Taylor Dayne the information. Watch this clip.
All right. So who are you picking for the presidential race? You looking at Pete Buttigieg as the future?
Well, first off, we're all talking about Joe Biden. He hasn't even declared yet.
Yeah.
So, but he's still the front runner. And I think that Biden, Camilla, I think that could be a really...
Kamala Harris.
Kamala.
Yeah,
whatever. Potato, potato. I think those two.
Okay, hi. Okay. So anyway, that was that. Okay, I've sent Taylor Dayne the information. God willing, she will be here. Anyway, let me tell you the story about me going to get... So I got a COVID test because I had had to travel a couple times, as you know, for the past month. And I thought to myself, I'm not having really symptoms, although I was having a couple of symptoms that could be symptoms, but it could also be life. So anyway... first off, you can't get, I mean, I know there's no news to anybody, but, I live like in a little bubble. You can get anywhere to get a COVID test. Like you can make an appointment, you can do a walk-in. But the problem is if you want the rapid test where, like in an hour or two, that's hard to get because that's what everybody wants. And of course, to make an appointment for a rapid test, your appointment's going to be in a week, which then I say, what's the point of the rapid test? I could take the regular test now and know the results in 3 to 4 days, even before a rapid test. That's me. Anyway, so I found out that this place every morning they were releasing new same-day appointments. So I keep looking over to make sure Taylor Dayne isn't here. So they were releasing same-day appointments, and I got one same day for this past Saturday. So I'm like, great. It wasn't the most convenient place in the world to go, but what else do I have to do on a Saturday? So, fine. I'm driving over. While I drive over, I get a text message from them that says, make sure you fill out the registration forms with a copy of your license, your credit card, your health insurance card, because if you don't pre-register, we will not see you. Well, I'm in the car, so I can't be taking pictures of my license and adding it to a form and a PDF. There's a lot going on. So I get to the place about 20 minutes early. And I go in and, first I call them and no one answers the phones. It's just information. So I say, all right, I'm going to go in. So I go, Walgreens. Oh, I see Taylor. Taylor is arriving. Hi, T. Okay. I don't see her yet, but I see her name, which is always a good sign. Anyway, so I go to get this COVID test at this place, same day. And I go inside to give them my license, insurance card, and the credit card as a backup in case the insurance doesn't work. And there's a big sign in front that says, stop, do not come in this door. Wait in your car till you're called. Well, so here's the problem. I walk back to my car. I try to call them again. I can't get through, but I've got an email that says that if I don't give them the information, they're not going to call me. So what can I do? So I go towards the door. Now, they see me in this glass building. They see me now approaching for the second time. And they all jump up inside. They're like, go back, you with your COVID ass. Get out of here. And I keep walking towards it. I'm thinking they're going to call the police. So anyway, one woman, head to toe, Silkwood gear with the headband and everything, screams through the door, stop. So I stop. Why are you coming in? I explain the story. She says, okay, go into the vestibule. And they've got like one of those ATM vestibules that you go in and then you wait and then they could come in. All right, so I wait there. So she gets now more hazmat information. T, I see you back there, just in case you're wondering. So she comes in and she says to me, this woman, she says, okay, slip your documents through the door. She doesn't want to get anywhere near me. So I slip the documents through the door. So she makes copies of them. And she says to me, and she slips the documents back and she says, okay, here's a form. Fill out this information form. And when it's time for you to be tested, bring it back. She slips the form. Problem is, I don't have a pen or a pencil. So she says, back up. So I back up. She opens the door like this much and slips a pen through there. And so I do the thing. Anyway, fill out all the forms. They call me. I go back. She says, slip the forms through the door. I slip the forms through the door. She now says, put on everything. Keep your hands in your pockets. Don't come near me. And fine. She comes out to do the test. And I reach in my pocket and I take out the pen. I said, I wanted to give you back your pen. Oh my God, the pen is riddled with COVID. Don't give me the pen. Keep the pen. I kept the pen. Anyway, she was very nice. She gave me the test. Everything's negative. And I got a pen out of it. That's the whole story. All right, look, I'm not going to keep talking. Taylor's there. I see she's trying to find her light. We're all trying to find our light, T. All right. Thank God. I don't mind telling stories about me, but I'd rather talk about Taylor Dayne. First off, can I just tell you, when I was a little gay boy in a Boston suburb in the 80s, I never thought that my life would ever intersect with Taylor Dayne. And as it happens, it has intersected many times. I have been fortunate enough to perform with Taylor, like we did a duet. I've hosted LA Pride. I've hosted shows at different AIDS benefits and gay pride festivals around the country. I have worked with Taylor Dayne many times. She is I don't want to say the easiest person I've ever worked with, but one of the easiest people I've ever worked with. She's fun. She is more talented than you ever would have imagined. The one thing that strikes me about her is, first, you don't think she could sound better than her records. She does. You don't think she could be more beautiful than she photographs. She is. And you don't think that she's going to be as down home and like your sister, like she would be. She always comes off like that in interviews. She is. She is all of those things. So I'm going to show a picture. This is a picture of Taylor at LA Pride. Now look, Taylor is going to look like, okay. Look at that. Just look, see, she's putting her makeup on. But she'll see this picture eventually. And then, just to prove that, like, I was with her, there I am with Taylor Dayne in what, this, and so she was wearing this white thing that the winds would catch it and it would blow like these diaphanous veils around her. It was so gorgeous. It was like, it was one of the greatest times of my life. And then also we were together at the Parliament House down in Orlando. Oh, we've been so many places. And now she's here and now she's sitting. She's getting her steps in, I think, before this show. Anyway, I am proud to welcome, and I don't want to click on her till she's back because she keeps running around. She's like a whirling dervish, that Taylor Dayne. Anyway, I'm going to her because if I don't click on her, she will never sit down. That's what I know about Taylor Dayne. Oh, but I want to tell you, before I even tell you all that, she's got a book out called Tell It to My Heart, Taylor Dayne. There's a subtitle, which I'll let her do. Oh, no, now she's got a new hairdo and I think a wind machine. What is happening over there, T? And so you have Tell It to My Heart, which is the book, and then you had Tell It to My Heart, which was the single. But what you got here now is Taylor Dayne. Oh, she's finally there. Look at that. We're back.
Back. All right.
I kept sitting there. I'm sitting there saying maybe she's fixing her makeup. Maybe she's got a wind machine. Maybe she's getting her steps in. Oh, all right.
That was just the AirPods. I don't
That's
know.
technology. I know. See, that's why we need the kids around.
Yeah. I don't know. I have connected them, but like, oh yeah.
Well, first off, I was telling everybody I am so fortunate to have worked with you so many times. We've done LA Pride together. Yeah. We've done Pride festivals and fundraisers around the country. The night at LA Pride, I had put this little composite together of you. You were so beautiful that night.
Thank you. Wow.
And,
so you see this kid? Do you remember they were on stage that night?
Yes, of course I do. I was playing with them backstage, and here we are on stage. I have video, but all the videos are like in LA, and then of course the Parliament House. There you were, you and your fabulous backup singers. One thing that I said this earlier is that what people don't understand is that you think she couldn't sound as good as in her records live. She sounds better. You don't think she could be as beautiful in person. She's more beautiful. And you don't think she'd be as real, but she's like, I'm Taylor Dayne. What do you want? Like, she is so down to earth. I mean, is that just who you are?
Yeah. I think it's, I appreciate that, Billy. I just feel we just settle into our core, and then as human beings, as we're growing, and of course, I think, look around, we're all being challenged in the same in this cyclical way. We're all being challenged to stay okay. You don't like what you're being served. What would you like to change? What do you think the world is saying, if you keep giving me the same, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, crazy, I'm going to sit there and reflect this back in a mirror to you. So you have to do things differently. So in my eyes, I grew up in a rather, challenged environment, regardless. So that tough kind of mentality, that street kind of smarts that we always had from New York, nothing was fluff and nutter anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's
especially if you wanted to survive.
the survival is what everybody's born to do regardless. You're either coddled or muddled or mothered or fathered through it in some level. But, really as our first instinct is to survive. You throw a baby into water, they're going to cry, their first instinct is to cry, and that's because we want to get fed. We want to eat, we don't want to die. That's our first instinct,
Right.
is to survive. So, but when you grow up in an environment like, I guess how we did in New York and stuff like that, we're just very much more, yeah.
But, I'm sure you knew people that didn't survive or didn't survive as well, that it was harder for. They didn't have that.
And I think we all know people like that. And it could
Yeah.
be your brother, your sister.
Well, and that,
You can take
it's a
people
funny
from
thing.
the same environment.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the funniest things you talk about in your book, which is
handle it as well.
in your book, Tell It to My Heart,
Yeah.
which we've got here on the screen, which, by the way, if people need like a last minute Christmas gift, first off, okay, you might not be able to get it tomorrow. Go to a bookstore. They're in bookstores. Go to Amazon and get a digital copy. You can get it right there, like that.
Oh yeah.
You didn't do an audiobook, Taylor.
No, not yet.
Why
No, I
haven't you?
I know. Well, I could sit there and yenta about it. Yes, you're right. I
Yeah.
could do.
You're
But
just
the
sitting
Kindle,
there.
Yes, there's plenty. Yes, I haven't done my audiobook yet.
All right. But anyway, one of the things I love in your book is you talk a lot about your childhood and how challenging it was. But you also talk about how everybody in that house saw it through their own eyes. And you did something really, I think, brave, is that you not only confronted the bad times you had, but then you handed the book to your parents and said, "Hi, just so you know, this is my truth. I don't need anything from you other than to just read it. That's it."
And I didn't even want to. I was like, my mother's like, I heard, and I.
Yeah, hadn't the book been out for weeks? Oh, wait, now we're not hearing you. Oh, yeah, we got you. Yep.
Can you see me? Levi,
see you and hear you.
let Scotty in. Unbelievable. I'm like, Mom. And she's like, oh, I heard from Lisa Galata. It did this. I'm like, Levi, let Scotty in. My God. Just
would you have ever imagined this would be? Yeah, I was just going to say, would you have thought this would be your life?
Taylor Dayne life.
I'm obviously.
Scotty, there's Scotty going.
Hi, Scotty.
What do you got to get in that gate for? I'm on with Billy. I see him on Zoom. Why do you need the big gate? You see Scotty Gomez?
I see Scotty.
3-time NHL, brought home the cup winner.
Yeah, you always have a lot of hot guys
gate?
around
That's
you.
yeah, I know. He's an Alaskan on ice skates. Who even thought?
Yeah,
Why
I
you
know.
gotta? Can you believe this shit? Why you gotta get in the gate today, Billy?
Oh, so what was it like giving your parents the book
Put your hand
after
over
2
the gate.
weeks? No, Scotty's still trying to get over the gate.
Jesus, Scotty.
Can't you imagine? Couldn't he just climb the gate, for God's sakes?
Yeah, you should climb the gate, Scotty.
There you go.
Look at all this merch. See, this is what you guys could be.
See, if you go to Taylor Dayne's website, you can get all this stuff with her DNA on it. Look at that. She'll touch it for you.
DNA. You know what? Don't you? I love these retro shirts. These are my favorite, though.
Well, that looks a lot like, here's the first single, T. Look. Like she hasn't seen it before. Like she hasn't seen it before.
Well,
yeah, I know.
This is when the hair was literally, they put, this is what my hair looks like that.
See, again, this is just what she's like. Yeah.
Untamed, crazy llama hair. This is the llama hair, baby.
But, would you have gone out like that in the day, or did you always feel you had to do everything?
This is the hair in the day, right? This is just it's like white snake hair. We can't, what do we do about it?
Yeah, and there was some more hair added sometimes.
It's still the same. This is white snake, baby. 80s hair. This is it. We come out of the shower. And
that's it.
Go on. I am so destroying his
That's
interview.
no.
Wanted a
First
private
off, we're going to be all over the place. It's fine. But speaking of the hair, you also talk in the book. We're going to go back to your parents in a minute. But you're
My
also
parents are
talking in
like
the book.
everything. And they're
But
still
you also
alive.
talk in the book. Yeah, I know, in Florida. You think I don't know Taylor Dayne? Come on. But you also talk in the book very openly, like, I think I'll go get lipo today. I'm having babies. I'm going to get my boobs done. You're just
Well,
saying
no,
it.
these were turning points. You're going to be turning 40, and you're like, there's no way I'm going to be like having babies and like rolling around like with like my saggy boobies. And you're like, I want to make sure I look like they're my brothers and sisters. And I think I can solve that problem.
Well, you still look like you could be their older sister.
Dude, they tell me that too. They go, Ma, I want your, I'll call them out. I'll bring it. They're like, you look pretty damn good. I'm like, just remember you said that. So don't come after me like, acting as if.
And in 30 years, if you don't look this good, you didn't take care of yourself because I gave you everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You because we talked about briefly, you had health issues as a child between
Yes.
like your bladder, your kidneys, the
Yeah.
tubing. And, in a way, it's after reading it, which I didn't know any of this. After reading it, I thought to myself, were you like 4?
I was 4.
Okay, so you're 4 years old, you're in the ICU, you don't know what's going on, you're not with your parents. You say the
Not a
funniest
lot.
thing, which if any of you who were born in the 60s or 70s, when she says, all I had with me was my Polaroid cube. I remember those cubes with the pictures on all this. The minute I read it, I said, if you were there, you knew what that meant. And you held on to that.
It kind of like as a mom and just knowing, remember that cube? You know what I'm talking about.
I do, yeah.
It's like a big Rubik's cubes, guys.
Right.
Except what you do is you put your Polaroid photos in it.
It's so that all the sides have a different picture. And then you'd put it like
held
on a
onto
table or something, or you could hold it. Yeah.
And
And then
all
some of
pictures
them
my
had like a little
family.
thing. They had a thing at the bottom, some of them that would turn so that you could look at them. But I can
Yeah, so
imagine
maybe,
a kid being so afraid and just having these pictures in their hand. That's
of
all
my
you have.
family and my brothers. My brother could barely even fit into the photo. He was just like this high, and yeah.
And your brothers couldn't come in.
At my table. It was at my little tabletop in the hospital, so that's what I looked at.
And your brothers couldn't visit you. The only ones who could
No.
visit were your
No.
parents. And as you said,
No, I was
mostly
in
your
intensive
father.
care for
Yeah.
a month after surgery.
And was it
Yeah,
Dr.
and then I was in
Landau?
the
Was that who it was? Was it Dr. Landau?
Yes.
See, I remember these things. Well, because I said, "Oh, that's a name." And again, you kept a relationship with him till you were what, like 18?
Well, yeah, he was and and I was very nervous about it. I mean, the tests weren't simple. They weren't,
They're invasive.
They were very invasive, but they were necessary. And it was obviously during a time that, talking late 60s, 70s, like these were, that was the way urologically, that was the way they stretched, they had to stretch my urethra into my bladder. And this is the only way they deemed it possible. And then the surgery was necessary to remove it, my urethra tube, and then reimplant it. And it just caused, it was just a 15-year process of my life.
And after all that, you're thinking to yourself, I can't ever have children. And then all of a sudden, one day, you find yourself pregnant.
No, I don't find myself pregnant. I've been pregnant, meaning...
Oh, yeah, for 5 weeks or something.
Yeah. I mean, I can get pregnant, but carrying a child... Mm-mm.
Yeah. Was that...
Getting
that
pregnant,
must have been one of the hardest things you had to decide.
Yeah. Carrying was not in the cards for me. So once living and moving to Los Angeles, where finding out about surrogacy and learning about it and understanding it and fertility. But this is by the time I'm in my late 30s. So I never carried a child, and understanding surrogacy and when it became, it was so unique and so infantile, the whole subject of it, and it was very groundbreaking at the time. So
it was only legal in like 2 states, in California and one other state.
Only
that was
Delaware
it.
and California at the time,
Yeah.
and only a doctor. I was going under lipo, and this one nurse was mentioning it because I was like, I want a child, and she's like, so have one, and I was like, what? And she goes, I had one with I'm like, what does the baby look like? And she goes, what's the matter with you? It's yours. It's rent a womb, child. And I was like, what? I'm like, I don't even understand what that means. It was so, you can talk to the smartest people. We don't, fertility, it's so still off the, we don't understand. And I mean, it took a long time, but I mean, I had to go on a waiting list. This was very, very ahead of the curve. And then still, even as a single parent, I was not, I still had the challenges ahead of me. Never mind if I was in a couple as a gay couple, or if I wasn't married. Being single was hard enough. Then you had to, and of course the limitations of women that were available even for it. You had to get a married, because again, you were dealing with somebody that had to be in a marriage, had to already have children. But again, it was really different because you're in rent a womb situation. You really are biologically attached to the child because this is your biological egg now. It's different. You're not you.
Right.
It's my egg.
Now, during that time, while that's going on, you're also working because you were doing Aida on Broadway. You're going back and forth.
Yes.
You would have like 2 days off a week. Well, really a day and a half. And you would fly out to LA, see the mother or do the tests or do the transfers. And then you'd have to go back because Mama got to do a show Tuesday night.
Yes. So during this time when I originally it wasn't supposed to be that way, but I went through 2 surrogates. One unfortunately had an incident where when we were doing the transfer, and then I found the perfect surrogate for me. But I found an agency that was willing to represent me, and it was beautiful. It was also meant to be. And I mean, once I put my mind to something, just like you said before, it's that New York thing. I was like, I'm going for it. Now I was only going for one child. And during that time, I mean, this was definitely late 90s, early, but I was on a waiting list for a while, a year. It wasn't like surrogates were very available. Again, I found an agency that would represent a single parent. I could show my tax returns showed I could afford it. I went as a single parent. I've yet to find one other woman that's doing what I do. Still.
And you would think that maybe after the first experience not working out, you might have given up.
No, they just popped me on another list. You name me one other woman that has a baby by a surrogate by themselves.
Yeah, still don't. And there's almost 20 years later.
I got twins. I still don't.
Oh, and we should tell the story. So when you found yourself pregnant. I do too.
I think we know Andy, right?
Yes,
I know a
we
couple
do.
of guys that have done it.
We know 2 Andys, actually. Yes.
Yes.
There's the story when you found out you were pregnant the first time and you were trying to figure out what to do, and you went to see a spiritual woman who gave you a message.
I was really pregnant then.
Yeah, right. You're pregnant, and you know that trying to carry this to term could kill you or the child, and you have to make the worst decision a woman has to make. And what did the woman tell you?
Well, this was a special woman, and this is I was also in a very destructive relationship.
Oh.
And the relationship is the one that really made me scared. And it was the relationship where, you can suffer through women take on a lot of things. And I wouldn't have stayed if I felt secure in the relationship and that I found that I could have handled it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was supported there. Maybe I would have seen it through and gone through all the unknowns and the challenges, and maybe the medical
Risks.
potential drastic problems that would have arose with it, possibly. But I know it would have been horrifically challenging. God knows, bed rest, who knows? And
Right.
everything else it would have been, because there's no other way around it. But the relationship was a challenge, and it never lasted anyway, obviously. But she told me that the soul waits. The soul waits. And if you can't keep this child, she will wait for you. And she called her a she. And she will wait here in the universe. The soul will wait for you. And her name is Astaria. She named her. And I was just blown away. And once she named her and she told me she will wait for me, I was so clear and so knew that I wasn't losing her.
Right.
That it helped me with my decision. And to the point when I did not go through with that pregnancy, which was devastating, to say the least, to moving forward to when I did move forward with the surrogacy. And when they told me, and when I was going back and forth, as you said, through my term of pregnancy, and they told me I was having twins, and they were boys, 2 boys, and I was like, where's the girl? Where's Astaria?
Right.
And for 6 months. And so the flying back and forth, as you say. So I couldn't believe there was no girl. And then 9/11, I was in New York. I had just wrapped up Aida, and we were in the apartment. And
with new boobs.
Yeah, probably. With new boobs or something after I finished my show. And yeah, eventually the surrogate got through to the line. We were in the apartment. Obviously, nobody was going anywhere. And she had just left the, the doctors, and they had gone in for another ultra or some other bigger, amnio or something. And there was a girl. So she goes, they're wrong. It's not a boy. And like, we had seen very clearly when they had done the amniocentesis, and I was like, wow, that's pretty wild. And so everything shifted. Just like our whole, like, you see things leave and go, and souls stay and wait when their time is ready. And so it was very profound. And then the story is alive and well and living right there down the hall.
And people, we're not going to go through it, but people should read the book, because the day when you get the call when the babies are coming, that story, and you go through in the book each message as it comes through, and you're like, there's one at 8 o'clock, there's one at 10 o'clock. Oh my God, well, I got to get going.
I was sleeping the whole time. And first of all, they came like, I was like, hi, Taylor, it's, Marie's water's broke. Hi, Taylor, Marie's water's. I was like, what? Like, this was supposed to happen for another week.
But you did make it there, and you were there, and
of course I made it.
And the babies were born an hour apart. It was scary. Yeah, that sounds like that hour, because you go into it. It was scary.
It wasn't scary. It was pain for Marie. I was fine. It was just a lot of time in between twins.
When Marie said, "Get these out of me now."
Yeah, she's like, "Get it out now." And I'm like, she wants it out now.
If I needed a kidney, she would think about it.
That's not for you. Okay, so you mentioned Aida. I was with you backstage in your dressing room at the why isn't the picture here? Well, I'll get the picture. But I was at your last performance with, was it Denise Rich? Was Denise Rich with you?
I don't know what performance. She's been with me.
The last performance, she brought me backstage, and I do remember because the cast made you a crown made of a Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket.
Yeah. Yes. Honey, that's basically what that thing was.
Yeah, well, but did you enjoy doing it?
Oh yes, of course. You get a
I
whole
didn't
family.
know you would. Yeah, I didn't know you had done the workshop.
Yes.
So you had been involved with it for a long time.
On and off, yeah, sure. I mean, that's a whole process. It's no joke. That's like 5 years. That workshop was amazing. It was me. You had Sherry Renee was in the original workshop. Audra
Right.
McDonald.
Right. It was. People don't know it was Audra before Heather.
Oh yes.
And I have to say, I heard a story about you, and I don't know if it's true. So I was at your last performance, which was on Saturday. Heather was leaving on Sunday.
Yes.
You were supposed to leave originally at the same time, and the story I heard was you said Heather should have that night for herself.
I don't even remember that.
Okay, well,
No.
if it's true,
No, they always
fine.
wanted. Heather got the. No. Heather was supposed to get her own.
Because she should, right?
Absolutely.
But going to see the two of you together in that show, the only thing that could have been better is if you had been back when Deborah Cox was in it, because I think to myself, the two divas together on stage the queens would have lost their minds. But they lost their minds with you and Heather.
Oh, Heather was. I mean, just remember, Heather came in there and just sliced it up. Weird
From
ball.
nowhere.
She used to look at me and go like this. What you do last night? She used to give me that. What you do last night? No knows, devil. Oh, we had fun.
Well, for people who didn't see it, I want to show a clip. And this, I will never forget.
And
First
Adam,
off.
don't think Adam didn't terrorize.
Oh, and Adam Pascal, of course, fabulous.
Used to put
But
whoopee cushions on my shit. I'd be like,
really?
Adam.
The show began with your character saying the first lines. And very
That's
calmly.
another thing you don't know from the workshop.
Okay, what?
There used to be two separate roles, the princess and there was a complete. Then they combined Princess Amneris with the narrator.
Oh, so the opening every story was not Amneris.
No.
Wow, I did not know that. Well,
Yeah,
let's
there's so
just.
many things.
I just want to show a little clip of you at the beginning, and when you tear into it after the calmness, it is frightening to be in the theater with this voice. Take a look. Stalking the stage. Stalking. I mean, that's power. And to do it 8 shows a week. You have no
Get
life
to it.
when you're doing that.
Jump to it.
And here we are backstage after your last performance.
Aww.
That's the dressing room. Oh, that's the other thing is you can always tell a lot about somebody by how the chorus and the rest of the tech people treat them. There was so much love in that room. They
family.
loved you.
Because this is my spirit backstage, baby.
Were there other shows? I know you did Cats a few years ago. Whatever. Were there other shows that you wanted to do? Well, I know I don't think you've ever talked really on the record. I know that you had met with Julie Stein several times.
That was the worst for him.
There were several times that you were going to come into Broadway or regional theater doing Funny Girl, which never happened. Can we talk about that? What happened?
It got
with
a
that?
little. Yeah, look, there was a big run there. Greece, Chicago. I was going back and forth with the Weislers on stuff. There was a big time there where they had a lot of us pop kids going in and out of there, and it would have been fun. And but really, I was Julie's baby for that. And they just couldn't. I don't think the Weislers or Susan Strummer was who was doing it.
Yeah, Stroman. Yep.
Yeah, there was really this tug and pulling back on that, and there was a real window for that, and there was a real opportunity. But the rights were getting Julie had health issues, and he had a strong opinion about it, and the Weislers did too. And the Weislers really, God bless them, but they really wanted me to commit to doing not Chicago first. Was it Not Gypsy. What show were they?
Might have been Grease. They had people
Grease.
coming in
but,
and out of
but
Grease.
they had everybody and their mother going in through Rizzo, and then
Right.
they had Cabaret going on. And I know
Oh, that's right.
Cabaret, and everybody was
Yep.
going into Cabaret. There was a commitment they wanted me to doing in Grease, which was fine. And I think Rosie went in, and a couple people went in, and I didn't really have a problem with it. I was like, cool, but like Funny Girl was like really his thing. And that was mine.
And you would have been it was the right time in your life, too.
We were, we were with Billy and Stritch, and we were with Liza, and we were doing it. We were on it.
Was it something that you aspired to, or did it just come to you?
Yeah.
Oh, it was, yeah.
Oh yeah. No, we were, I loved him. I mean, I hated him at first, meaning he was a mean
Really?
motherfucker to me in the funniest way.
Oh,
I'm
really?
like, Mr. Stein, I'm a very smart girl. Just tell me what you want. He's like, sing that goddamn song the way it was written on the page. And I'm like, I looked at my accompanist. I'm like, shut the fuck up. He told me to sing like Taylorize it. I'm like, dude, you never do that. You sing
And
what's on the paper.
And I heard what he fell in love with was an Irving Berlin song.
Yes, the music that makes me dance and sing. Sing what's on the paper.
And I think the kids have been telling me, and I've gone and watched, you've been doing these concerts online where you're singing standards.
Well, eventually you have to, sometimes, of course, I'll do anything. I mean,
Yep.
you get to a point where, I would love, yes, sometimes.
I mean, is there an album of standards in you?
Why not?
Yeah, no, I think why not?
Why not?
It seems to me every time you do something, people go, oh, she can do that. She can do that. Let's talk about The Masked Singer. Now, all of a sudden, people don't have the name Taylor Dayne or the looks or the body or the hair or anything to distract them. All they have is the voice. And people lost their shit.
Yeah.
I mean, they really did. And they're sitting there saying, okay, she's singing Pink. She's singing Harry Styles. Who the hell is this?
Yeah.
Tina Turner.
This season, I turned it upside down for that show because they have, at the end of the day, when everybody's unmasked, you have like the last four or five of us. I mean, you got Tori Kelly, you got Nick Carter, you got Leanne Rimes, you got Taylor Dayne. Aloe Black is a little bit younger, but like, and Tori, but like, you got some veterans up there. We've been doing this 30 years.
But veterans that they may not have said, oh, we'd love to hear Taylor Dayne do a Harry Styles songs. They wouldn't think that, but when they don't know who it is, they give you a chance and they go, wow, that's great.
Yes.
And you're introduced to a whole new generation.
Yes. Oh,
and it's funny. Yeah, you mentioned in the book that you have now, these days, you see like 3 generations at your shows.
Yes.
I mean, what is that like for that girl who was, say, the youngest generation to see all this span?
I'm having a great time.
It seems like it. And
I'm having a great time.
You talked about that writing the book, and now we'll go back to your parents, that, although you wanted to get stories out, it's also, and you say this in the acknowledgments, it's for them.
Yeah, but it's like, you look what we do now, music, streaming, what we do. Like, age is a number now. Like, we're all in the game. My kids are 18. My son runs my like merch shit. He's on my Redbubble. Like, it's no matter. We're all like, it's a family business. Like, we just, music's out, singles. It's all. I can't wait to do the next thing, whether it's Dancing with the Stars, whether I'm hosting on another series, like music. This is what we're doing now.
Whether it's, and you also talked about it, that you'd like to do a show based on the book, that you'd like to do maybe a Vegas show or a Broadway show.
Well, I could see this. Yeah, Vegas feels very, very real.
And you've talked about that it could go one of two ways. It could be something for you, or it could be something using your music to tell a story.
100%. There's plenty of that.
You know, and was it Get on Your Feet that really inspired you? Gloria Estefan's show.
Certainly. And then, of course, just watching even Tina Turner's.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
What was the song that was taken from you that Tina had a hit with?
I wrote Whatever You Want. Whatever
That was you.
You want me to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
my label passed on it. And then I wrote that with Arthur Baker. And then Tina recorded it and made it a worldwide smash for her. She opened up her tour with that. Yeah.
And you know, it's funny. I was backstage with Lulu in London 2-3 years ago, and she told me, I wrote Simply the Best and my label passed on it. Tina took it and had the hit. That's just how it works sometimes.
Yep.
How did you and Clive get together?
Through Tell It to My Heart. He heard it. I mean, the label picked it up through one of the A&R people that heard it. Rick and I had produced it, wrote it, and we're putting it out. They heard it through an A&R person, brought it into the label, and they signed it as a 12-inch.
And two things people need to know about that. Number one, you got a loan from your father to produce it.
Oh, yeah.
Initially.
Well, we had done 12 inches before. I was doing the mix shows.
Yeah. But there was a contract. There was all legal. And the other thing is that they $6,000, and he got paid back.
He got paid back. He knew he would.
And that you had a contract with Arista that was single album that they could drop you at any time if a single didn't work.
Option album.
Option for album, sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, the option was on their side, not on yours.
Yeah, usually. So true.
And Clive said something really interesting, that he had a song that he was holding on to for Whitney Houston, and he heard you and said, I think it's a Taylor Dayne song. What song was that?
I believe this is Folklore, but I think you might be talking about Love Will Lead You Back.
Yes. Is it? Do we not know if it's true?
I don't know if that was true or not. I don't know, because I believe that that's a song that, for sure, when I heard it, we were in the office together. I believe that Diane always wanted me to do it.
And Diane Warren always loved your voice. I mean, that's a great collaboration.
She was hunting me down since my first record.
That's what I had heard.
Right.
How much, you were born Leslie Wonderman, and how much of you is Leslie still?
Yeah, a lot.
Because you talk about really making a decision that you wanted to reinvent yourself in the image you had in your head.
Yeah. Well, you never, that's the funny thing. I think you do that, but that little thing, that little piece inside of you hold on to. I think hopefully you heal a lot of that little girl. You heal the wounded parts. That's always the work in process. That's the work.
And then you can integrate them together.
Yes.
We should say, the wounded part was you had a father who had rage issues.
That's one of them. And my mother that had enabling or whatever or victimized issues, whatever that part is. So together, imagine an enabler of a rager.
And this little kid.
A victim of a rager. So, where those things go. Yeah.
And it's funny because you talk about going through therapy. I've been through therapy. Many people have. And you said something in the book that hit me, that I realized once when I was in therapy and I was telling a story, the therapist asked something about how did something make you feel as a child? And you're like, well, they did the best they could, blah, blah, blah. He's like, that wasn't the question. You're talking intellectually. How did it make you feel? And that was very hard to realize. And he said to me, you don't have to protect your parents from your feelings. And when I read your book, I thought to myself, you had to go through a lot of that because you have to express your truth even if it hurts somebody.
Well, when you're young, you do that because you just don't want to get punished, or
But then when you're older, you have the permission to do it.
Correct.
But it's still hard. It sounds like it's still hard for you because you don't blame them necessarily.
Yeah. I kind of don't run that tree anymore. I just don't run up that tree so much anymore. And maybe that's wrong. And maybe I did the Hoffman Institute pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's ran its course.
You've looked for answers in lots of different places. And it's funny, it doesn't sound to me that you're so much religious in any sort of structured way as spiritual at this point.
Yeah, it's true. I'm Jewish. I'm proud of it. I'm also spiritually connected to being Jewish. And when I've gone on that path through Judaism and Kabbalah, and I've really had strong moments and when I've been very grounded in that. I've had wonderful moments there, and I truly have had great relief and great studious moments there, and it's been beautiful. And I find all of that study really awakening. But I'm just in a free flow right now, and it is more spiritual right now. I did a beautiful sound bath last night. I did some beautiful didgeridoo, and I find the sound has been very awakening and beautiful and letting it in. And nature has been my greatest healer.
Yeah, you mentioned going to Joshua Tree in particular.
That's just one of them, one of the soft landings I go to.
Yeah.
But immersion in it, when you can do it, it's beautiful.
The other thing that was interesting is you had issues with religion and your love of the gay community and your gay fans. And
I don't know if it was an issue. It was something that was brought up. It was a topic, and it was something that I understood. When you get so deeply involved with something, you understand principles, and then you try to understand the tools and what the tools and the principles, what they mean, and then how you try to apply those tools. But there were so many gay and so many gay couples involved in the same, that they applied it to the same principles. So it wasn't an exclusion of gay. My greatest friends were lesbian, gay, homo, male and female, and they were right there in Kabbalah with me. They weren't suffering.
Right.
They understood the principle of male energy and female energy. It had nothing to do with sexuality.
Right.
So it had nothing to do with marriage per se. It had nothing to do with separating sheets. It had to do with the energy of male energy and female energy. That is the principle of all we're talking about here. We cannot get caught up in separate men and women. Guys, don't think about it that way. It's not, that's why the light bulb has a male energy and a female energy. The filament is the center.
Right.
That's how you get the most power from the light bulb. You'll get 60 watts. You want 90 watts, you'll have more restriction.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You must understand what this restriction is. That's the filament. That's the more separation, the more illumination.
Right. And you take what works for you, which is the key.
Of course, that's the given. So I don't, yeah. It's a difficult, I never want, yeah.
Yeah, no, you talk about it a lot. You talk about it in the book, and also when gay marriages became important, and you've sung at gay marriages you've been involved in, that was never an issue for you, ever.
Ever.
Right.
Never is. ever is. And a matter of fact, the reason why it became just so much more involved for me is because what I was saying to them is like, guys, it's not about gay, straight, ish. I don't care about nothing. My
Right.
point was support gay marriage more, in the sense is because if you want to have a family, to raise a child, and you need the support, it's financial.
True.
That, to me, is a financial need to support with a spouse when you raise. I'm a single mom. This is a choice.
Right.
Pro-choice.
And a hard choice.
But I asked the gentleman, the guy, the person I went into this with, completely, wholeheartedly, how he wanted to do this.
Yeah, and you talk about that he has his own family. He's in England, but he
Correct.
has a relationship on the terms that
100%.
works for them. Right.
And I would never, but this is a choice. And I had my choice and he had his. And I don't want to put somebody in a place they're not comfortable. And I never went into it that way. He gave me a beautiful gift, and I'm not like, So if in a marriage, if you need that to be, you have every right, if you're gay or straight, to be in a safe marriage, in a safe, committed relationship, to share the expenses, to have what you need.
And the emotional support, if that's what you're looking
100%. And so does your child.
Right. I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was really. Oh, is
Well,
he
we're
there?
doing an interview too.
Everyone's
time is
busy. See.
Are you ready? What's he getting? Okay, cool.
I thought what was really interesting, I didn't know you worked with Bert Stern for the Naked Without You photo session.
You didn't know?
I had no idea. And
The
I love
legendary
you.
Bert
And
Stern?
yeah, no, it's funny because I look at it and say, well, of course I just thought it was inspired by that, but I didn't know you got to work with him. What was that like?
That was like, I wanted to work with the legendary Bert Stern.
Yeah, and you did.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
You know,
before he died. It was amazing.
Yeah. And
I
it
was
seems
inspired.
well, it seems like you really took control of your career at a certain point and decided, I'm going to call the shots, and it may not make sense to anyone else, but who cares?
I've been trying to do that my entire career.
When did you feel you hit the point that you could?
I was trying to do it since the day I fucking started.
Even that early.
Yeah, and I wasn't trying to be a badass about it. Who do you think did Tell It to My Heart? Nick and I. It wasn't, it's everybody else that said, oh, you can't, you shouldn't, oh, stop. I didn't even, the whole thing, this whole fantasy about Clive and I, it's like, oh my God, if I could have wrote all the best songs in the world and been inspired to go in there with every songwriter imaginable, I would have been so happy and creatively just juiced out. I would have been thrilled.
But that isn't how things work. You really have to work. You have to push it yourself.
Well, wasn't I?
Yeah, you did. But a lot of people didn't, and they didn't survive. Maybe that's why you are still here and still relevant.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Does it feel like trying, really?
I don't know.
Yeah, it seems
to
to
us
us that
like
you're
I'm
having.
on the right path? Does it feel like
It
I'm
seems
on the right...
It always seems to me like you're having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. And I've been with you backstage where I'm like, she's having fun. She's making sure shit gets done, but she's having a good time. I mean, I hope you are, because you should.
Does it look like Debbie Gibson's having a good time?
You know, that year when the two of you sang at LA Pride, one sang Friday night, one sang Saturday night. And it was so amazing that people came out and they're like, I like Debbie better. Or I like Taylor better. And I'm like, really, Queens, are we still talking about this? Can't everyone just have a good time?
Can we all just get along? But like Debbie's doing good. She's doing great.
She's doing great. You're doing great. And the other thing is, people think like you two hate each other, and it's like I've seen you two together. You don't.
Not anymore. You can't say
Oh,
that
what?
now.
Was there a time that you did not like each other?
No, but now Debbie and I step out all the time, so they can't.
I know.
Go there.
Always.
Okay?
I
Now
want to
they
show.
go fuck themselves.
You know, when you started, people didn't know.
And even Tiffany now, she can't even say shit because I'm like Tiffany. Like I'll show up on their shit.
Oh yeah. Well, the good thing
No,
about
because I was a
social
lot
media
tougher
and
than
stuff.
them. I was just more of a badass.
Well, that's the thing is, I think you might have been scary because you were the
I
tough
scared
chick.
them.
I think so.
Not anymore. Now I'm like, okay, Debbie. No.
Oh, I don't know. I think you still scare people.
I do
you know-
scare them, but not them anymore. I'm like, Debbie comes over. No, I'm good to them. I don't scare
You know,
them anymore.
You know, you said in the book that when your first single came out, you purposely didn't to put a picture on the record because you didn't really want people to know who is she, and people
You
were
think
wondering.
I did that? That's fucking the record company did that. Shit.
Well, see, I'm giving you the credit that it was all your
Credit
idea.
for that. I thought that was the biggest bullshit ever.
Really, you didn't like that?
Who would? You work
Well,
so
because I
hard.
think a little mystery makes people more interested.
No, that mystery caused people to think I was black.
Yeah, I guess that. But you know what? The black community also embraced you. The Latin.
They've embraced me. It's beautiful.
This. All right, now while she's doing this, I'm going to show a clip. Here is Taylor Dayne at
I'm
the
leaving you
legendary.
after this, Billy. I have another interview, and I
I
love
know
it.
you. All right, that's okay. I'm showing this quick clip. All right, while Taylor puts on her eyes for better people, let me put this clip. Hold on a second.
I've got to go on ESPN.
You have to go on who?
ESPN.
Oh, fuck them. All right, let me show
What?
this clip.
Fuck
But I know, but that
sports
look,
people.
ESPN is going to sell records, so you go on there.
Well-
I'm showing a clip of Taylor at the. All right, she might have one of her eyes done by now. See, she's with those better people. Here she comes clumping. I hear the stomping.
What?
Okay. You know, I love a girl who can multitask. Only a Long Island
Hey, Patty,
girl.
come say hello. This is my other. This is Billy.
Hi, Billy.
Hey, Scotty.
What's going
Did
on?
you make it in the right gate eventually?
Yeah, I got it.
All right,
Figured it
good.
out.
Well, good. Well, T, I know you got to go. What are you? Good to see you. What are you doing for the holidays? You staying in LA? You're doing okay during quarantine? Everything's fine.
Yeah. Well, you know, look, it's been challenging.
You're doing these concerts. A lot of them on Sundays on
I did
Instagram
a
and
lot of
Facebook.
them. I did a lot. I did April, May, June, and you know, I might get into it. Listen, it's been challenging to say the least. Everybody's going through it, but I love everybody. I love you guys all so much.
I want to thank you for
safe.
doing it. You know, people should go out, get the book. The book is fantastic.
The book,
We're
the
gonna
new
get-
music, the Christmas singles out right now. I've got my love to keep me warm, and this new single that came out over the summer. Everybody heard that banger?
Oh, that was so great. That was like classic Taylor
It was.
kick-ass.
Yes, I appreciate.
You got to see her on The Masked Singer. Go to YouTube, watch all the clips. They are unbelievable. Watch her TED Talk, which is great.
Aw.
And the book, of course, there it is. Tell It to My Heart, Taylor Dayne. Taylor, I want to thank you for doing the show. I love
Love you,
you.
love.
I hope I get to see you soon when this is all over.
Oh yeah, there's more fun to come. New
The-
music, new single, and look, watch TV. I got something up my sleeve.
You always do. You always do. Thanks, honey. Take care.
Bye, love you.
Go to
Happy
ESPN.
New Year,
Bye.
guys. Merry Christmas.
Happy. Bye, honey. All right, that was Taylor Dayne. Now we didn't get to talk about it, but I will show a clip. So, what people don't know is that the reason she wrote the book. Don't want to say the reason. I don't want to put words in her mouth. She'll come over and hit me. But she was invited to do a TED Talk. and she talked about her background, how she came through it, how it empowered her, and you can make a life out of adversity. And she ended the TED Talk with this song. So I wanted to show this song.
I saw please lift the weight of me. With this voice I will survive, 'cause there's a reason I'm alive. Well, I was born to sing. I was born to sing. I was born to sing. I was born to sing.
And I know some Broadway queen out there is going to say, why did I show the clip from the opening of Aida and not her song? Okay, here's her song. Let me tell you something. Sitting in the theater with that voice, and it is crystal clear. It's almost like, you know, it's only happened a couple of times where I've been in theaters where somebody is singing in front of you and it almost feels like they're sitting right next to you. And that's that immediacy of her voice. I love Taylor Dayne. Even crazy, even putting on makeup to go talk to better people, you know. Okay, I'm going to go, but I'm going to leave you with one more clip of Taylor. But when I'm not coming back because, you know, I got things to do. Christmas is coming up, and I'm COVID negative, so you know, the world is my oyster. We are not. I say we're not doing a show next week. Who knows? I said I wasn't doing this show, but this may be. Oh no! You know what? I might do a best of show next week, like the year in review, Billy Masters style. I don't know. Who knows? All right, if you right there, I think it is. If you press the subscribe button, you will find out when I schedule a show. It doesn't cost you anything, for God's sakes. And that's all. Have a happy holiday. Have a good Christmas. Well, Hanukkah's over. A Kwanzaa. I don't know when that is. It's around here somewhere. Who's texting me? Oh, Merry Christmas to all Billy viewers from Kenny Morse. Oh, is your forehead green or is it just, I'm going to put on my glasses that he doesn't like. I don't know what's going on with the color there. Anyway, and for Sil, take care of yourself. I don't know if you're talking about me or Taylor, but thank you. Dennis Hensley. Okay, Dennis Hensley has a great game called You Don't Know My Life. We were going to do it in December. We were going to do a celebrity version of it. We didn't because things got away from us. But Dennis, we are still going to do a show. Maybe we'll do it in January with Melissa Peterman and some other people. Erin Quill. Hello, Erin Quill. She sang on, I assume she is Taylor, sang on Celebrity Doodles when I was the MC and the crowd loved her. The crowd always loves Taylor Dayne. Harry Collings. Thank you, Harry Collings, who I adore. Really love your interview. Talented. Have a joyful, happy holiday. Thank you so much. Craig Connors. Thank you so much. Jerome Cleary. Thank you. Okay, Laurie Levin. It's called a photo cube. Look, Taylor Dayne calls it a Polaroid cube. That's how she calls it in her book. You want me to argue with her? She's going to come over and hit me. So no, I'm going to just call whatever it wants. Rocky, gorgeous. It must be my plunging neckline. I know it's Taylor, not me. BB, thank you. BB has been here for all of these shows. I adore her so much. The rest of you, thank you for watching Billy Masters Live. 73 shows for 2020. Who knows how long this is going to last. I'm still here. And I'm going to give you one more clip of Taylor Dayne. Which one will I give? Oh, I got so many good ones here that we didn't get to. Okay. This is one, you don't put Taylor Dayne and PBS together. But, let me tell you something. Taylor Dayne and PBS does go together. Taylor Dayne can do anything she wants, and she can sing anything she wants. And if you don't believe it, look at this clip.
Now that I have found you,